Star Gurus here. I'm Corey. That's Kevin. Today we got Kevin on because he's a avid Albanian soccer fan. And today we're going to be talking about Albania, specifically the European qualifiers that they had like last weekend, I believe. Yeah, they had two last weekend. They played France and then they also played Iceland. Two drastically different games if you're an Albanian fan.
Absolutely.
So we're going to dive right into it. First, we're going to talk about the Albania-France game. It was kind of ugly, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, what can you expect? Well, first of all, the just from the beginning, it's funny. They played the wrong national anthems. I thought it was funny that
they played the Armenian national anthem.
So they played. So the players were really confused. So just from the beginning, you knew it was going to be a bad night. So
what made it worse was France actually apologized, but they apologized to Armenia for playing their national anthem.
Yeah.
I don't know if Albania ever actually got an apology.
Yeah, it was a big deal in Albania. They actually got an apology from the French president to our president, so it was a pretty big deal. But so the game was ugly. They got completely demolished by France. I mean, what do you expect? France is the number one team pretty much in the whole world. They're expected to win the Euros and the World Cup, So great team, great players. Even though they didn't have some of their key players, they're so deep in their lineup that they still had the players just to completely rule over Albania. And what made things worse too is that Albania, just from the beginning, they made some very defensive errors that caused them the first goal, which I think if you look at the replay, they may have been offside, but regardless, the first two goals were just completely two defensive errors from Albania. That's just knowing Albania and their history, those are mistakes that we cannot make just because Albania being a small country, they have to rely on their defense.
Yeah, and you can't make mistakes like that against teams like France.
Against France, But the thing that I was happy is that they are a young team and they were confident, and the fact that they got the one goal, it's a positive. Even though they got completely dominated in terms of possession, corners. They scored 4 goals. The fact that they scored 1 goal is a positive note, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And coming up, the next couple games actually, the next couple days went by, and Albania played Iceland.
Yeah.
And that was a completely different game. They looked a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah. So.
And it was a 4-2 win against Iceland.
Yeah. So. Going with Iceland, it was a home game in Elbasan. It was, for them to have any hopes of making it to the Euro 2020s, this was a must-win game for them. So from the beginning, the players knew that, and you could see as soon as the game started that they were just attacking. The game started, they hit the post, they kept pressuring Iceland, which was all positives notes, and then they finally scored the goal. It was a beautiful goal. From the corner, but then again I go back into the defensive errors that they made. So it was 1-0. You expected Albania to sit back and defend, but they made a defensive error, which led Iceland to score, and it was 1-1. But then again you see Albania pushing, and Huskaj, amazing player, defensive. He plays for Napoli, scored a beautiful goal. So you see the game 2-1. Now, even at 2-1, you'd still see Albania pressuring, which is, again, another positive note.
Good sign.
It's a good sign
when
because
they're pressuring in a game like that.
Right, so it was 2-1. I thought that they were just going to defend and sit back, but they were pressuring, trying to score the third goal. And again, this made a huge defensive error from a set piece, which led Iceland to score the second goal. But then the coach made some great substitutes. Roshi came in and was completely like the difference maker. He scored the third goal, which I thought was a brilliant shot from the left. He's kind of our Cristiano Ronaldo of Albania.
Yeah,
so amazing.
No, I really like Roshi.
Yeah, amazing.
He's a good player, and I agree with you. When he came in, I thought the pace of the game kind of changed a little bit for Albania.
And the good thing is that I liked the coach and what he did is because the previous game he started Roshi. This game he left him on the bench, which I thought was kind of a weird move. I was like, why not start Roshi? I know he has had a lot of criticism, but he's one of the fastest players. He's very consistent. He's been playing with Albania for a long time, so I thought it was weird that he didn't start him. But I think he paid off great because he was able to come as a sub whenever the Iceland defense was completely really tired. and you could see Roshi coming with fresh legs. He was able to make the difference.
And maybe that was his strategy to bring
Yeah.
Roshi in once Iceland kind of later in the game when their legs weren't as fresh.
Yeah.
You bring in a fast player like that who can kind of even more control the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was 3-2 at that point when he scored the third goal, and then another again great run by Roshi. Made a great pass to the left. Then Chikaleshi, capitalized from a cross. That was a beautiful fourth goal, and that by that time the game was pretty much done and dusted for Albania.
kind of the sealer. So that kind of brings us into the next segment is Albania got a new coach once qualifying started. So for qualifying for the Euro, so about 9 months ago.
Yep.
This coach, what do you think of him and the style of play that he's bringing to Albania? Is a little bit different than we've seen in the past. What do you think of that style of play, and do you think it can help Albania kind of take that next step and get into the qualifiers, get into the Euros?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think in my opinion, he's a great coach. He believes a lot on the young players, as you can see from the team. It's a very young team, so that's a very positive note. I think the one thing that I really like about this coach is that he's not just focusing on the defense. Usually Albania just sits back, just defends, and they rely on the counter attack to score one goal. And we've seen this in the past against Portugal, for example, when they just defended the whole game and they scored the one goal and in Portugal. So he's coming into this team and he's giving the players the belief to just not only just focus on the defense but just attack. And you can see Albania has been attacking a lot. I mean, the game against Iceland, we had 60% possession, and you don't see Albania winning on possession. You see Albania just scoring one goal but then having
and
30%
sitting back and defending that.
So I'm glad,
kind of bunkering down.
Exactly. So I'm glad that he's focusing on just the attack and giving players the belief and the ability to just attack, the belief in themselves. Now the one thing where I think he needs to do some improvement on is because they're now focusing on attack, they're leaving a lot of space in defense, so they're getting scored on a lot. So even though they're scoring goals, they're getting scored on. So they need to, if they can tighten down, if they can close the space down a little bit more, I think they will be a really good team. Enough, maybe if they don't make it to the Euro 2020s, definitely make it to the World Cup 2022.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
If they could get that.
Yeah.
When was the last time? Were they ever in the World Cup?
They were never in the World Cup.
Think so.
So yeah, it would be a huge story for Albania too. They were in the Euro 2016, but never in the World Cup. So.
Yeah, well, we'll start with the Euros and see if we can go from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that pretty much sums it up. So chances of them getting into the Euros this year, which are starting this summer.
Yep.
It's kind of all throughout Europe, a little bit different this year. It's not just in one country. It's going to be in multiple cities, the group stage, the knockout stage, until we get to the semifinals, which is all of the two semifinals, and the final will be held at Wembley in London.
Yep. Yeah, so Albania right now is sitting with 9 points. We have Iceland that's 12 points. Then Turkey and France are both 15 points. The top two teams make it from the group. There is a slim hope for Albania to make it. They have the next game. It's again Turkey. It's in Turkey. This is a must-win, another must-win game for them to have any hopes of making it. So they have to beat Turkey. Then they have a game against Andorra and Moldova. They have to win those, and then they have the last game against France. And you're hoping that France, by the last game, that
they're kind of
done, and they just put a bunch of
exactly,
and hope that you draw against France or by some miracle win. And we hope that Iceland can also help and beat Turkey when they play against them in Turkey. So there's a lot of games that have to play out a certain way for Albania to have any hopes, but there is a slight chance. So.
Well, it's definitely encouraging that last game against Iceland. Iceland's a team that's been successful recently. It's also encouraging knowing that Albania is in that four horse race for this qualifying group, at least this late. So huge game against Turkey. it's win or go home basically for Albania. So
They have to win, yeah.
big game against Turkey coming up. But that's it from us, guys. Today we're drinking a German beer. Can't pronounce the name, so I'm not gonna try. But thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at the bottom, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
Cool, bro. You did better than right.